Good morning, Yasha Allah, to 12 tribes, all in the diaspora, east, north, west, south. I come to be in your midst. We come to worship our Alahayim, Abba Yahweh, Bahasham Mashiach, Yahweh Shai, Warawak. And we come to help Yasha Allah to comfort Zion today, this evening, nearing the sunset. And our subject is the hidden king. Believe it or not, that's our subject, the hidden king. And you know, our key text has been for some time and still is that Yahweh, Alahayim, shall save the tents of Yahweh the first. And so we're capitalizing on that theme. As we go into the subject of the hidden king, Yasha Allah, my task, a very voluminous task. It's a great task. But we are thankful that Abba Yahweh in his Rawak, he can simplify. He can make it so the least to the greatest can understand, because it is his word that we come to declare. We have some serious enemies to negotiate, Yasha Allah. Not enemies, murderous enemies. At the top of the list is Gadriel, that the Europeans took the letters of his name and they used some of the first letters like G, and they transformed the A to O, and I used the D and shaved off the rest and put it in our Bibles that they use the Hebrew text to create it, but they transform some words. And how daring that they transform the most powerful word for the book, Alahayim, Yahweh. They transform it to God. The misspelled name of Satan. And it ain't hard to recognize that our people haven't been led into slavery to be broken. They end their slavery, and in the momentary release, for the moment, they have been led again into, or let's put it this way, in slavery, they have been led into captivity concerning the knowledge of the scriptures and of our Alahayim. And coming out of slavery, are still bound or have been still bound in the idolatry and dishonoring the Most High, Alahayim, and dishonoring. In fact, having been set at ease from the type of slavery where we had been brutally beaten all the time and so forth, broken up physically, and direct contact with the slave master. That we got some relief from that intensity. Now, I have shared with you already how it is that we came to get that kind of release. And let me reiterate, it was all on account of the need for Esau to amalgamate, negotiate a relationship, Esau and Levi, to get what Second Thessalonians call the anti-Messiah. Esau vied for the anti-Messiahship and encouraged Levi to take it on. Because only Levi could take it on, because it lay in his purview. I guess we might use that word. He was the one concerned with the priesthood. And so Esau was able to corral him, if you may, coaxed him, and put the proposal to him under cover of emancipation. And they sealed the deal so that Levi turned his back on the Messiahship, the priesthood unto the Mashiach, our Messiah. And when the gate swung open again in the late 1900s, the world was witnessing the anti-Messiahhood and under the dominion of what the scriptures call the anti-Messiah. Of course, Esau, as is usual, as is his MO, he put the word Antichrist in there to throw you off, that you wouldn't figure out what was really happening. And that's how it's been for a long time. But we give thanks unto our Abba, Yahweh, who sent his word in the flesh, our Mashiach, to bring us back to order and to the right understanding. And so, as we come to reveal the hidden king, we have the Satan that has his his chopped up name in the scriptures as God, devil. destructive, rebellious devil. And we have the reptilian Malachims, reptilian Malachims, that the English regularly or generally call angels. Them people you talk about from the the different galaxies and so forth. Of course, they're down here on Earth, and they have hideouts that they come out of. Matter of fact, I have been telling you that in slavery, the slave master, being the home of the fallen Malachims, they were close buddies, and the slave masters detail was to force Yasha'Allah, the house of Yahweh, force them to be the home of the demonics. That's how you get the Willie Lynch. Demons, destructive, brutal demons that was on Yasha'Allah. So we have Satan, the reptilian Malachims from the distant galaxies and so forth, those that are in the aquatic sea world, those in the shadows of the mountains and valleys and dark, deep places. And we have Esau himself. Yeah, the master of darkness, Dracula and werewolf, and the gamut of horror world, the horror world, the world of horror. That's Esau world. That's where all those magazines and those depictions and sceneries come from. Comes out of Esau world. Yeah. So we have Esau, and now we know the Levites, the fallen Levites, represent the seal of that union against the Most High, against the Mashiach, against Yasha'Allah, against Zion. And along with all of that, you have the nations at large. So this is where our battle is being formed, where our battle is situated. From those that I named: Satan, the reptilians, Malachims, Esau and Levi, combination, and the nations who forget the Most High. You know what our forefather David said about the nations that forget Allah? You know what's gonna happen to them? Hey, yeah. But we want to unveil the hidden king, because it is absolutely important. Absolutely. Also, it is necessary and needful for Yasha'Allah and the nations, if you will, but primarily for Yasha'Allah. Because the king, our king, the Mashiach, I told you already that he's coming down for atonement to get your vote on who he is. He's got some serious business to do, and he got to finish it You remember when he was on earth among our forefathers, and he was teaching, and when it got into his bones, he said, "Look here, I have a baptism to be baptized with, and how I wish, how I wish it was ready to be over." You know, so here we are. We have to get this baptism to see the King, and those of us who recognize him, good. Those who don't care, no big deal for them. That'll be okay too, because the King is coming to know or to see, to find out who are his friends in Yasha Allah. We know that the nations, we're teaching so that we can, grab some of them, to recognize and come over, if you will. Yasha Allah is the cradle of the King, Mashiach. So we want to know today, what will you do with the King? Let's go into it, Yasha. The hidden King in Genesis 1:1. Get your Bibles out, please. Get your Bibles out. It's going to be intense for a minute. So get your Bibles and let's go into it. You're going to see some stuff. Not some stuff. You're going to see some serious knowledge. So get your Bibles, Yasha Allah. Let's go into it, Zion. In Genesis 1:1, we find that from the first verse, in beginning, Elohim created heaven and earth. Check. Elohim is or constitutes, makes a complete or total package. The total package that we know as the Most High, Elohim. In Deuteronomy 6:4, we're told that he is one. Abadawa, Yahweh is one. You remember that? And it means one individual that presented himself, watch this now, to Adam. I know everybody could relate to that. One individual presented himself to Adam and his wife after he, made the woman on numerous occasions, I would like to think, and get together. The scripture says that he came down with them to be with them in the cool of the day. At least on one occasion, we can cite that for a fact. So, they got together to share in communion and fellowship. Abaya used to come down, and these were his babies, Adam and his wife. Scripture tell us that when the heat of the sun began to cool down, Abaya would come into the Garden of Eden at that cool period. You can go into, I think it's Genesis 2, I believe it is. Where is it? 2, 3, 3, chapter 3. So he would come into the garden, and the Garden of Eden at that cool period. And that's Genesis 3 and 8. And have a father and children get together. But one day he came. Elohim, Yahweh, came to meet with them, with Adam and his wife, and found out that they had hidden themselves. I know you know the story, at least to some degree. Well, we're going to help you now. We're going to help you, Zion, Yasha Allah. We're going to help you to see a more complete rendering of the picture, of the portrait, so you can get a comprehensive view of what it is that you have been seeing or looking at for a long time. So when he came to meet with them on this particular day, could have been a Wednesday or Friday, getting towards Shabbat, he found that they had hidden themselves from him. So he calls to them, asking Adam to pick up the telephone receiver. He's making a call. Adam, where are you? So, Adam is, and Hawa, the son and daughter, Most High is asking, where are you? So, as Adam picks up the receiver, he's trembling. And Abba Yahweh calls, Adam, where are you? Adam replies, I'm here, Abba, among the bushes. We're give me a second here. We're at the end of that turn, where the big oak, the old oak tree is, Abba, and so Abba, walks over to where Adam and Hawa have been or have hidden themselves among the trees, and he begins to get real close to where they were hiding. Where are you, Adam? Adam makes an attempt to square his shoulders and answers, I heard your voice in the garden and I was afraid and I hid myself because I was naked. And Abba Yahweh asks Adam 2 questions. It was, where are you? And then Adam says, I hid myself because I was naked. So Abba Yah says, well, you're naked? Who told you were naked? Who told you that? That's a serious question. And so he's hiding and he's naked. But now that rebellion has set in. They are confronted by a difference in their own, in themselves, in their own selves. Because he finds himself naked and he's hiding, but then there's a confession. He says, I heard your voice, and I was afraid because I was naked and I hid myself. And Abba Yahweh, he questions, well, who told you you were naked? Have you eaten of the tree that I told you not to eat of? Imagine that. Abba Yahweh standing there. I mean, Adam says, I hid myself among the trees. So Abba is, standing patiently and questioning. So he gets the gist of the matter. They had been disobedient. Of course, the wife, the woman, Hawa, she was the leader in that respect, in that regard. So Yahweh he questions them and finds out that they did eat off the tree, and there they were. As I was saying, the rebellion was set in. And so imagine that Adam feels so ashamed if you have gone that far into the narrative to see that. He was really ashamed. And but he couldn't fix it anymore. He did it because of love to his woman, to his wife, knowing that she was wrong. So this ain't a catch-22. This is not a catch-22. This is a catch maybe 10,000. So he's in really bad shape. And so he's really he needs some help here. And but Yahweh says, well, he blurts out that it is the woman you gave me. And she kind of led me astray, and I did it. So Abaya presses in the interrogation. Have you really eaten of the tree? I warned you of. And the rest of the question put to Adam. So at the end of that, the Most High brings a sense of closure to the situation by declaring unto Adam and his wife what must be done to correct the problem of the family brokenness. And now, eviction from the garden. They got to be put out. This is the home that the Most High Elohim built for them, but they broke the rules of tenure of what would allow them to have this property and use it for a dwelling place. They broke the rules. So the Most High said, I got to put you out. I mean, if in council, he says, we got the tree of life in that garden. And if we leave them there, they're going to go and eat off that and live forever. And that would be a worse situation. Go and read it, read it. 1, 2, and 3 chapters of Genesis. So now, this broken relationship between Abba Yahweh and his children, Adam and Hawa, set the template for how man would conduct himself toward Alahayim. And they already found themselves on the wrong end, and they couldn't repair it. They really had no answer. What could be done to make things right? To even make it better? They were at a loss, speechless. And so Abba Yahweh, being the owner of the property, and the one who had the last say, let's put it like that. He had the first say because he gave it to them, and now he has the last say because he has to tell them what must be done in view of the breach of care of the property, and in view of the fact that with all the damage that had already been done, there was more damage possible to be done. So he got to step in, take care of the situation as it is, and prevent more collateral damage. So he says, now, I got to move you, Adam. You and your girl, I got to move you on. Can't let you stay. So now you have it now. You have it that in the narrative, chapter 3. Well, you find in verse 13 that the Most High said unto the woman, "What is this that thou hast done?" I want some sisters to get that question, to hear the tone. What is this that thou hast done? And the woman said, "It's the serpent. He tricked me. So I ate." Now the Most High gets to the serpent and he tells him, "Because you have done this, you are cursed above all cattle and above every beast of the field." Well, the serpent ain't making no reply, because you can imagine he was feeling so good that he got to mess up, spoil the plans of Elohim, Yahweh, the Most High. And he was actually hoping that by some means Adam and Hawa could take of the tree of life, and you could have forever sinning. But the Most High put a curse on the serpent and make him go on his belly forever and to eat dust all the days. And he says to the serpent, "I will put some, this disgruntlement." I use that word, that's my word. You won't be able to get along with each other, you and the woman. There'll be some tough times between you all. And between your seed, the serpent seed, and her seed, it shall bruise thy head, the seed of the woman, shall bruise thy head, and thou shalt bruise his heel. And of course, he goes on to let the woman know she was going to have some hard time in her bringing forth children. There will be some sorrowful times, anyhow. And he reminds her in the last of verse 16 that your desire shall be to your husband, and he shall rule over thee, over you. And let me hasten to add, for those who don't quite understand, I've shared this with Yashara before to give the understanding that this verse here in 16 that says that the desire shall be to thy husband and he shall rule over thee, this is not a new revelation to Adam and Hawa. It was already in their DNA. That's how the relationship was set up. The woman was made from out of the man. So he was her boss. He was her head. And we have it in what's it in 1 Corinthians 11 or 2 Corinthians 11 that the scripture that says that the Mashiach is the big boss and the man is next in charge, and the woman, of course, moves with the man. So he lays that out. I've said that so that those who might think that this is an arrangement that is being made now that sin came, because I've heard it discussed in many religious circles, growing up and getting to have more understanding of scriptures and so forth, and hear people discuss scriptural issues. Many people have thought that this verse portrays something that came along after the sin happened. No, this is the original. But now that the rebellion had occurred, you need to understand that there was something had happened internally in the spirit, the mind, in the consciousness of that couple, both of them. So at that moment, they were in great turmoil. Their world was not only turned upside down, it kept spinning. They couldn't get a balance. So when the Most High comes, or when he came, he had to begin to level things out for them, show them what to do, how to respond to what had occurred. So yes. So he says, you got to be submissive to your husband. Oh, I know some sisters don't like to hear that, but it's tough luck on you. If you don't get with it, you will get without it. So now you look at what he says to Adam, because you have done this, now things are going to be tough and rough for you. So the chief enemy of the kingdom of Alahayim won a victory against the Most High. Yeah, again, because you remember, as was shown in Revelation, that there was a war in heaven sometime before this Garden of Eden situation happened. There was a war in heaven that the chief enemy of the Most High, Gabriel, Satan, was kicked out, and his followers with him, Malachims that came with him. But now, as he attacked the pair in the garden, he won a victory by getting them to rebel against the Most High Yah. And so now we have a new situation for Adam and Hawa, but it is the second round of the battle, for Gadriel, Satan. So he won the second round. In the first round, Mashiach kicked him down, bust him up, kick him out. But now he comes and he wins he wins this round by getting the pair to rebel against the Most High. So you see that in Revelation 12:7, that there was a war in heaven, and you see it in the book of Hezekiel, how Gadriel got besides himself. I think it's Hezekiel chapter 28 or 18. I think you know the story anyway. We are told in Hezekiel that this Gadriel, Satan, got besides himself because he thought he was so beautiful, so pretty, so powerful, so musical, music master. You got people right here now on the earth today selling their souls for music power. But yeah, so he's won a second round by getting the first couple to take sides with him. And so those loyal angels had an all-out battle with the rebel Malachims, who decided to help out Satan, or Gadriel, with his promotional war campaign to unseat Abba Yahweh and take over the rulership of the cosmos. They actually thought they could do it. It's crazy, but the revelation shows that that's what he thought he could do. He thought that the Most High looked so casual and gentle and easygoing that he could take him. He found out he can't do it. Nobody. The gentleness of the Most High will toss away any opposition. I say his gentleness, because then in that gentleness is a power. You can't touch this. Hama says, can't touch this. And he found out you couldn't touch it. Now, so I want you to understand then, Yasha Allah, that this attempt to unseat the Most High and to take over the throne of omnipotence. You think Satan, Gadriel, had any chance really to become the master of the cosmos? You think this creation is a small and simple matter to take charge of? So, but eventually, Abba Yah had the rebel militia with Gadriel Satan as leader, evicted and banished from the heavenly courts of glory. But as we see in the Garden of Eden, he struck again and gained a victory. But in the garden, before Yah Elohim evicted Adam and his wife, as he also had to do with the 12 tribes. You remember? Yashala was evicted out of the homeland. Yeah, the Most High evicted them. Yahweh, Judah, Benjamin, Levi, he evicted them, scattered them all over the earth. That's in the book of Luke, chapter 21. Scattered them all over the earth. After the Romans destroyed the city and the temple, scattered them all over the earth. So, as the Most High, Yahweh, had them evicted, he had Gabriel, Satan, the evil one. He was cornered as Abba Yahweh spoke. You go and read the account in the scriptures. You see how the Most High spoke to Adam and Hawa and showed them their wrong, what they did, and how he was dealing with it, what he was going to have them to do. He eventually told Adam, I can't leave you here in this garden. You got to go out. I love you, but you got to go out. We have to handle this thing right. And of course, Gabriel, Satan, was spellbound because he was intent on getting them to, handle that tree as he would like them to. Now, so the Most High tells Adam in verse 17 of Genesis, because you hearkened to the voice of your wife and ate of the tree, of which I commanded thee, saying, thou shalt not eat of it. You got the ground that is cursed now, and you got sorrow, eating of the ground, out of the ground all the days of your life, thorns and thistles. Your agricultural efforts, be a hard issue for you. And so you're going to have to do some really hard work, man. So that was the size of that. And so, the Most High took counsel and said, you can't leave him here. We can't leave him in the garden. We got to take him out because the tree of life is here. So in verse 24, he drove out the man and he placed at the east of the Garden of Eden cherubims and a flaming sword which turned every way to keep the way of the tree of life. You remember when he spoke to the enemy, to Gabriel, to Satan, he told him that in verse 15, I will put enmity between you and a woman, and between your seed and her seed. Here we have immediately the promise, the guarantee that the Most High was prepared to do something about the situation that affected both parties, himself and Adam and Hawa. Gadriel, Satan, was in the middle. But, the chief was the Most High. Everybody had to answer to him. So as feisty as Gadriel showed himself to be, when the Most High came to set the rules, I want you to observe that he was quite calm, quite ready to listen and hear what the deal was. So the Most High let him know, there ain't gonna be no getting along with you and that woman as you think. And I'm gonna make it so that your seed and her seed will be in the square all the time. But her seed will bruise your head while you bruise his heel. Your head will get mashed up, crushed. So the garden situation was left in that manner. Of course, you read the last verse. It says he drove out the man and he placed at the east of the Garden of Eden cherubims. We have been forced to use the white boys' idolatrous words for so long. But yeah, the Most High drove them out, put the Malachims there. Now the sissy angels put the Malachims there and closed that deal for the time being. But now, when you look at Genesis 2 and 15, if you're reading it right, you will see that this is a verse of controversy. If you read it right, you have to see that there's a direct maybe I could use the word promotion. There was a promotion war, open war, and put enmity between you and the woman, between your seed and her seed. And bruise your head while you bruise his heel. And now, in verse 22 of chapter 3, let's look at that. Verse 22. You're gonna get there, Yasha'Allah? Well, we're gonna show you who the Mashiach is. You need to know that before atonement gets here. And it's my duty by Abba Robak to share this with you so that you get it. Chapter 3, verse 22 of Genesis. And Abba Yahweh said, behold, the man has become as one of us. We kind of went over it already, but let's lay it down and nail it. He's become a one of us to know good and evil. And so lest he put forth his hand, he took and take of the tree of life. Therefore he sent him forth. So we read it. He drove out the man and placed the cherubims. 21. Genesis 21, let's look at that. When we finish laying the groundwork, we might move a little faster, Yasha Allah. 21 and 17. 21, Genesis 21, 17. It says, and Elohim, or Yahweh, heard the voice of the lad, and the angel of, well, let's use some Hebrew terms, and the Malachim of Elohim called to Hagar out of heaven and said unto her, what aileth thee, Hagar? Fear not, for Elohim hath heard the voice of the lad, where he is. Now, right here, it might seem to you, might seem to the assembly that we're going out of left field, some kind of how. But when you go back to Genesis 2, you see where the Most High promises, I'm sorry, Genesis 3, the Most High makes a promise, Yahweh makes a promise of sending a seed to bruise the head of Gabriel, Satan, the serpent. This is a promise of open war. And now what we need to get a hold of is, if there's going to be a war, a war calls for, I guess, many things. I mean, first thing is there got to be a decision that you're going to make war. And if you make a decision to make war, then you've got to prepare for war. And then when you're preparing for war, you have different instruments, different implements, the type of machine, equipment, military equipment that one might feel or decide that has to be a part of the artillery, the means for engaging or assistance or assisting the effort of engaging the war. And so what we looking at here now, since the war has been declared, well, on both sides, because Gabriel, Satan, the serpent, is the one who attacked the pair in the garden. These were Abiah's children. These were his creation. And Gabriel attacked them and overcame them to this point. And the Most High comes to render assistance and to restore what he had originally planned and put in place. And when you have over here in Genesis 21, what Abba Robak is showing us here now, that Abba Yahweh begins right away to should I say make up, but he begins to put together the plan for his strategy in engaging the war or the warfare of Alahayim against the one that made the threat towards his establishment. His establishment was in the garden, as it was in heaven, previously, long time ago when Gadriel, Satan, made the war in heaven, and the Most High had to come and toss him out, kick him out, give him a good boot to the place that is fit to get the boot. And now, but now, the need to engage a warfare with this enemy now dictates that the strategy for warfare has to be different. Warfare is warfare, but every battle necessarily, or if necessary, must be fought on its own terms. I want you to stay with me now. What you have here in Genesis chapter 21 is an introduction to Yah methodology, strategy for engaging the battle, warfare with this treacherous enemy, the serpent Gadriel. And I want you to see then, get this right away. And in the English, as it says here, it says the angel of God called to Hagar. When we put it in the language of the Hebrew idiom, we say that the Malakim of Alahayim called to Hagar. And I want you to notice, though, that this Malakim of Abaya, of Yahweh, is not the one that is referred to when we say in the English, an angel of the Most High called out to Hagar. It's we generally speak like that in English. An angel spoke or called out to Hagar. This angel, this Malakim of Alahayim or Yahweh that's calling out, let's see how I can get this across to you. Let's look at Genesis 32:24. You're going to get it in a little bit, Yasha'Allah, and there's going to be some shouting. Yeah, we're going to shout tonight. Genesis 32:24. Genesis 32:22. It's 32:24. And our granddaddy or daddy, Jacob, was left alone, and there wrestled a man with him until the breaking of the day. And when he saw that he prevailed not against him, he touched the hollow of his thigh. This is what the Malakim, or the man, that wrestled with our 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 daddy, granddaddy, Yaakov, Yasha'Allah, um, when the man that wrestled with him that night saw that he couldn't put him off, he touched the hollow of granddaddy's thigh, and the thigh became out of joint as he wrestled with him. And granddaddy said, I'm sorry, the Malachim, sorry again, the man that wrestled with him, with Jacob, said, let me go, for the day breaketh. And granddaddy said, I will not let thee go, except thou bless me. And he said unto him, what is thy name? And he said, Jacob. And the man said, thy name shall be no more Jacob, but Israel, or Yasha'Allah. For as a prince hast thou power with Elohim and with men, and hast prevailed. I believe that the man who wrestles with Granddaddy Jacob, I might be wrong, but I beg to associate the man that wrestles with Granddaddy Jacob. I associate this man with the Malachim over in chapter 20, was it 21? With verse 17 of chapter 21 in Genesis. That says, and Elohim heard the voice of the lad, and the Malachim of Elohim called to Hagar of heaven. What I propose to show you, Yasha'Allah, is that as the attack on Adam and Hawa happened in the garden, and by the fact that Elohim, Yahweh, put it out there that there's going to be some bad issues between you and the woman, between your seed and her seed. Her seed is going to bruise your head. You'll bruise the heel, but it's going to bruise your head. You'll mess you up real good. This is an open declaration of war. And so now, as the war has been put to a challenge, you find the Most High taking on the task of preparation for the war. We're going somewhere, Yasha'Allah. You're going to shout. You're going to shout. And as the Most High is putting his plan into operation, we find that the easiest way, maybe for me to say it, that what actually begins to happen is that the Most High, Abba Yahweh, has decided that he's going to split himself up. And as he split himself up, every entity of the split is going to be a principal weapon, or maybe I need a better word, a principal agency, maybe I should say, or agent every um, every entity of this split will be an agent for takedown, annihilation, and uh, annihilation of the enemy, and also to to bring restitution to the disturbance that took effect when Adam and Hawa were attacked by Gabriel, by Satan in the garden. See your key text is, I will put enmity between you and the woman, between your seed and her seed. This is what Abba Yahweh said. So now we see in this verse of scripture, 21 and 17 of Genesis, and the fact that the Malachim of Abba Yahweh calls to Hagar. We see then the beginning of the process of Alahayim, of Abba Yahweh, going into preparation mode for his principal war strategy. We're still going to get to the shouting part. So now, after we see this Malachim, angel, as they say, angel of Alahayim, dealing with Hagar, we see grandfather Yaakov, this man wrestling with him, throwing his thigh out of joint. Let's look at some other incidents here. Stick with me, Yashala. We're going to get there. Where's my paper? Where's my paper? Who moved my paper? Oh. (48:16). 48:16. Genesis 48:16. I think that's what I need. Genesis 48:16. And, well, no, it says, the angel, the Malachim which redeemed me from all evil, bless the lads, and let my name be named on them, and the name of my fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and let them grow into a multitude in the midst of the earth. I need you, Yashala, to put what you're learning from these verses that we have read already. I want you to put it together and see what you get. And the Malachim of Alahayim called to Hagar. And we have the man that wrestles with our grandfather and puts his hip joint the place and blesses him. You want to get that? Blesses who can bless like that? Changes his name, blesses him. Now we have again um, our uncle Joseph giving praise to the Most High, saying, "The Malachim which redeemed me from all evil, bless the lads." He's talking about Ephraim and Manasseh, I believe, but he's putting his blessing on them, and he's calling or making reference to the Malachim that redeemed me from all evil. I hope you're beginning to put the picture together, Yasha Allah. Let's go a step further. Um, let's look at Exodus 3 and 2. Exodus 3 and 2. Exodus 3 and 2. And the Malachim of Yahweh appeared unto him in a flame of fire out of the midst of a bush. We're looking at the Exodus story that's involving our forefather, the Levite Moshe. So you know he saw the Malachim of Yahweh appearing unto him in a flame of fire out of the midst of a bush, and he looked, and behold, the bush burned with fire, and the bush was not consumed. And our uncle Moshe said, "I will now turn aside and see this great sight, why the bush is not burned." And when Abiyah Alahim saw that he turned aside to see, Alahim called unto him out of the midst of the bush and said, "Moshe, Moshe." And he said, "Here I am." And he said, "Draw not nigh hither. Don't come too close here. Put off thy shoes from off thy feet, for the place whereon thou standest is set apart, holy ground." I'd like you to see with me, Yasha Allah, that when Moshe comes to the mountain and the Malachim of Yahweh appeared to him in a flame of fire out of the midst of a bush, as he looked, and he saw the bush, flaming, but not being burned. It was a how should I put it? It was a moment. Maybe that's the easiest way I could put it. It was a moment in time for him. Never seen anything like that. Consuming fire, but the bush ain't burning. So he's trying to see. And now, this says, what he saw in verse 2 was the Malachim of Alahim, or the Malachim of Yahweh, appeared unto him in a flame of fire out of midst of the bush. And when the Mosai saw that he turned aside, he called unto him. I want you to get the feeling for what happened. The angel, the Malachim of Yahweh that appeared unto Moshe in the flame out of the midst of the fire, um, was actually with Al-Hayam. And when Moshe got interested in the sight of the bush burning, but not being consumed, and he stopped, Abba Yahweh stepped back and let the Malachim of Al-Hayam speak. The Malachim was the Mashiach that spoke, because the Most High is setting the stage for battle preparation concerning this thing that happened in the garden. I want you to get the picture now that the Most High is beginning, he's in the beginning stage now of splitting the Al-Hayam togetherness. You know, in Devarim, Deuteronomy 6 and is it that 6 and 4? It says Al-Hayam, Yahweh, Al-Hayam is one. But here you see Al-Hayam beginning his battle preparation to take on the threat that Gadriel, we sometimes call him Lucifer, the threat that he put to the kingdom order. And he begins to prepare by splitting up the triune connection. And so he begins to promote this splitting up, as I'm saying to you. He begins to set it in motion. And so when Moshe comes to see the bush burning, Yahweh lets the Malachim of Yahweh speak. In preparation for the time that you're going to see that is soon becoming, when he's going to tell, well, let's walk up to it. Let me walk you up to it. Exodus 3, 2, Baba. 48:16. Baba. Da. So, as I was saying to you then, after seeing the bush, and getting up close to it as he could, Abba Yahweh, instead of addressing Moshe as he normally would, he stepped aside and let his word speak. For himself. I hope you getting the picture that I'm bringing to you. Because of the entrance of sin in the garden and the need to restore the brokenness that ensued that took place after the attack of Gadriel, Satan, the Most High began to put his plan together to restore. And I'm showing you then that the key strategy that is being used is that the triune entity of Alahayim splits up. And you're going to get to see this split. You're going to see it. Might seem a little bit difficult for you now, but you're going to see it. So, the word of Alahayim spoke to Moshe as he turned to behold the sight of the bush burning but not being consumed. Abiyah steps back and let the word speak to Moshe. And he really called his name. And we find that further on in Exodus 33. Let's look at Exodus 33. Exodus 33. In Exodus 33, what you have here is the Most High Yahweh presenting himself to Moshe in what you might view as a most familiar presentation. As we look at it, you will see that here, and I'm not sure it's any place else. I believe it might be only here, where the Most High shows himself in a manner where he could be seen as one complete individual. Let's look at the text. And Moshe said unto the Most High, Yahweh, see, thou sayest unto me, bring up this people, and thou hast not let me know whom thou wilt send with me. Yet thou hast said, I know thee by name, and thou hast also found grace in my sight. We're at Exodus chapter 33, Yasha'Allah, Zion, Exodus 33 and verse 12, I was reading. Let's read it over. And Moshe said unto the Most High, see, thou sayest unto me, bring up this people, and thou hast not let me know whom thou wilt send with me. Yet thou hast said, I know thee by name. Thou hast also found grace in my sight. Now, therefore, I pray thee, if I have found grace in thy sight, show me now thy way, that I may know thee, that I may find grace in thy sight, and consider that this nation is thy people. And he said, Yahweh says, my presence shall go with thee, and I will give thee rest. And Moshe says, if thy presence go not with me, carry us not up from here. For wherein shall it be known here that I and thy people have found grace in thy sight? Is it not in that thou goest with us? So shall we be separated, I and thy people, from all the people that are upon the face of the earth. And the Most High said unto Moshe, I will do this thing also that thou hast spoken, for thou hast found grace in my sight, and I know thee by name. And Moshe says, I beseech thee, show me thy glory. And he said, I will make all my goodness pass before thee, and I will proclaim the name of Most High, Yahweh, before thee, and will be gracious to whom I will be gracious, and will show mercy on whom I will show mercy. And he said, this is what the Most High is saying now, Thou canst not see my face. I want you to listen to the language, Yashala. Listen to the language. And he said, Thou canst not see my face, for there shall no man see me, that is, see my face, and live. And Yahweh said, Behold, there's a place by me, and thou shalt stand upon a rock, and it shall come to pass, while my glory passeth by, that I will put thee in a cleft of the rock, and I will cover thee with my hand while I pass by. So we get the picture now, Yashala. We should be getting the picture that in this exchange, or in this this manner of relating to each other, the Most High, he's the one in charge of the narrative. He says to Moshe, who asked, Moshe put it to him, I want to see you. I want to see you in a real way. I guess that's the best we could put it. I want to see you in a real way. And he said, Moshe, Yahweh, says to Moshe, I will make all my goodness pass before you and proclaim the name of Elohim, and will be gracious to whom I will be gracious, and show mercy to whom I will show mercy. But he says, Thou canst not see my face, for there shall no man see me and live. I want you to get the picture, Yashara. So, where's that verse I need? Ba 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 ba. Come on, help me now. Boom, boom, boom. So you find then, according to what we're learning here, that when the Most High passes by Moshe, he puts him at a spot where, as he passes by Moshe, Moshe sees the whole structure of the image that resembles, the image of a man. He sees the body of this being that looks similar to what a man looks like. This was the Most High passing by him. The total package shown to Moshe. And so when, you remember, he told Moshe that when I pass by you, I'm going to hide you with my hand. You see my back part, but I'll hide you with my hand so you can't see my face. I want you to get the picture. He is seeing the Most High, Elohim, as he never saw him before. And in other words, as the Most High is preparing to split up, I maybe make my own word, as he's preparing to split up the tri-union, he's now giving Moshe and us a chance to see a composite whole of who the Most High is. And he passes by him and lets him see the whole feature, the structure of the resemblance of a man. But of course, Moshe knows that it is the Most High, Elohim. But he sees this one being. This is what I want you to get to see. So you can get, the understanding. You can see. You can see the manner of the strategy that the Most High is using to bring restoration to the broken fellowship between himself and Adam and Hawa, between himself and us by extension. So you have all those other sightings that went before. They were like partial sightings. But here in this chapter, the Most High exposes himself, reveals himself as a composite whole, one individual being that he showed to Moshe. This is what I want you to see. All right, so you've seen that, Yasha'Allah. So he says in verse 11, where's that? Let me. Give me a second. Verse 11. I'm missing something here. We're gonna get there, Yashala. Give me a minute. So I was showing to you the contrast that we have here is that the Most High does not appear as it were in a similitude or another type of representation of who he is or who he might be, but he shows himself plainly in the form of what resembles a man, one man. And here you have the Father with his word and his ruach. This is what I want you to get, Yasha'Allah. And so we're going to continue to break down the strategy, the battle strategy of the Most High, because he has now exposed to us the Malakim of Yahweh or of Alahaya. And we've seen it now in at least 2 or 3 instances where the word of Alahayim speaks up. And 33 and 13, let's see how does this. Twenty-three. Well, I think we went over this before. Let's recover. And verses 22 and 23 of Exodus 33. And it shall come to pass while my glory passeth by, that I will put thee in a cleft of the rock, and I will cover thee with my hand while I pass by, and I will take away mine hand, and thou shalt see my back parts, but my face shall not be seen. So I'm re-emphasizing the fact that what our forefather Moshe sees in this revelation is the clear-cut revealing of the figure of a man, one single figure. Read it, you can read this story over and over, and you'll see Moshe is looking at one individual. That's the Most High, Yahweh, with his word and Ruach all enclosed in one individual being. That's what I want you to see. That's important for you to see, because that's going to help you to get a better appreciation of the strategy that he's using as he separates himself as Father, the Word, and the Ruach to take on the challenge of restoration of the whole creation. And in the Mashiach, to be the payment for sin. And in the Ruach, to be the agent for putting the sealing of everything, and making it the way he needs it to be. Yes. All right. So, after this direct encounter, where he exposes himself to Moshe as this singular individual that is the Most High, Yah. He says to Moshe, now that you've seen me, get prepared to get acquainted with my word. Let's look at it. And but now, when we talk about seeing the word in this sense, we're going to be seeing the word as it is brought to us by the Ruach, when the word becomes flesh. It is the same Malachim of the Most High, Yahweh, that spoke at the burning bush, that spoke to Hagar. So get yourself together, girl. Go back to your mistress. And so forth. So, at the burning bush, Abba, Yahweh introduces his word to Moshe as the Malach of Elohim. Here, the word of Elohim is introduced to Moshe as the process of separation begins to take effect, to allow for the split between Father Yah, his word, and Ruach that had to be taken to accomplish it. Let's look Exodus 23. I think I got it. Oh, that's it. Exodus 23, 33. Okay, Exodus 23, 20 to 33. It says, behold, I send well, and now these regular Bibles have angels, but in Hebrews, Malachim. Behold, I send Malachim before thee to keep thee in the way and to bring thee into the place which I have prepared. Beware of him. Get that? And obey his voice. Provoke him not, for he will not pardon your transgressions. For my name is in him. But if thou shalt indeed obey his voice and do all that I speak, then I will be an enemy unto thine enemies and an adversary unto thine enemies. For my Malachim shall go before thee and bring thee in unto the Amorites and the Hittites and Perizzites and Canaanites and Hivites and the Jebusites, and I will cut them off. Where am I? 33. Thou shalt not bow down to their gods, nor serve them, nor do after their works, but thou shalt utterly overthrow them and quite break down their images, and ye shall serve the Most High your Elohim, and he shall bless thy bread and thy water, and I will take sickness away from the midst of thee. There shall nothing cast their young, nor be barren in the land. The number of their days I will fulfill. I will send my fear before thee, and will destroy all the people to whom thou shalt come, and I will make all thine enemies turn their backs to thee. I will send hornets before thee, which shall drive out the Hivite, Canaanite, Hittite from before thee. I will not drive them out from before thee in 1 year, lest the land become desolate. And the beasts of the field multiply against thee. By little and little I will drive them out from before thee, until thou be increased and inherit the land. And I will set thy bounds from the Red Sea, sea of reeds, even unto the sea of the Philistines, and from the desert unto the river. For I will deliver the inhabitants of the land into your hand, and thou shalt drive them out before thee. Thou shalt make no covenant with them, nor with their gods. They shall not dwell in thy land, lest they make thee sin against me. For if thou serve their gods, it will surely be a snare unto thee. So Yasha, you want to continue to nail down this principle that Father Rawak is sharing with us here. We begin to see, as I was showing you, that the Most High, Yahweh, is splitting himself up. As you began to read the scriptures until this time, you were hearing about him and, getting glimpses of similitudes, representations of him. But then after he exposes his word to make an address, well, it says has been several addresses from what we have been reading now, but when he was directly dealing with Moshe at the burning bush, and he allows his word to answer Moshe, he's unraveling the mystery, because you're going to see that in time he's going to send word, and the word is going to become flesh, separate from the Father in physical terms, right? Whereas before they were all connected. I want you to see the principle that's going on here. So, Baba. Oh. Exodus 24:15. Where are we? Hope you get it, Yashala. 24:15. Where's that? So after this, the separation of the word, or the bringing forth of the or about Yahweh allowing the word to be introduced to Moshe in its own right. Then you had the what do you call the 10 Commandments were given, right? And let's look at this. Numbers 20. Blah, blah, blah. Numbers. Judges, Numbers, Judges. Give me a minute here, Yashana. Numbers, let's see. Numbers. Numbers 2016. So Numbers 20:16 says, and when we cried unto the Most High, he heard our voice and sent an angel. They say here in the English, but he sent and Malachim, and hath brought us forth out of Mitzrayim, out of Egypt. And behold, we are in Kadesh, a city in the uttermost of thy border. What I'm showing here, Yasha'Allah, is this continuation of the Most High, Yahweh, to present the characters of his team openly to Yasha'Allah, whereas the presentation of the Most High was in what the scripture calls as similitudes, showing up in different forms or partial representations. But now, after he showed Moshe the whole of himself, he begins to allow, for instance, the word to speak on its own, or for his own what's what I need that for his own recognition. Let me put that word there. He allows the word to speak, to make a representation of its own doing what it needed to do. It would do it as the word of Yahweh. Abba Yah would not override the word, in other words, and speak in the general sense of him speaking his word. He allows the word itself to speak for itself. This is what we're seeing here taking place. And you will see, too, also you will see the Ruach moving. Of course, I think you already know that in many instances in the scriptures, we have portions of scripture that says, and the word of Elohim came to the prophet, and the word of Elohim came to Jeremiah, and the word of Elohim came to Ezekiel. You remember that? This is the continuation of the splitting up of the triune energy to handle the process of dealing with the different matters concerning the restoration of the kingdom order. I think you can relate to that. So you would find, I'll probably put some of that together and come back and then let you see it. But I can reference it to you. Many of you already know that you'll find passages in the scripture that says, and the spirit of Elohim spoke and said, or the spirit said, do this. And the word of the Most High came to, different prophets. And the word, I think you get the picture. So what we're going to do is end it right here for now. Then when I come back, we'll come back more fortified to show you the battle strategy of Abba Yahweh against the intrusion of Gadriel, Satan, to upset the kingdom order. And Abba Yahweh is coming to set it back in order. May the Most High bless you, Yasha Allah. Pray for me. Musha. Musha. Just lay off a minute.